Hi again, guys. This is a video on writing formula. So hopefully it helps you in your term 2 as well as your exams, grade 9s. Obviously, it will also be useful grade 10, 11s, and 12s, but we do teach this in grade 9, so hopefully it helps a little bit. Okay, so writing formula. This is when you get given a formula, a compound in words, and you need to be able to write the symbol formula of that. So we need to first of all understand where these symbols are coming from, what they mean. So the first thing you need to make sure that you're understanding to use is this periodic table. If you do not know how to use a periodic table, you will not be able to do the writing formula, naming, balancing, all of those things in grade 9, and then going forward to matric. Okay, so this is just a basic understanding of how you look at a periodic table. Remember, the groups are going down. So groups are going down, okay, and periods are going across. So groups down, periods across. This is group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So when we use numbers, we are specifically referring to the 18 groups. But when we use these Roman numerals are referring to just 8 specific groups. This group 1, this group 2, group 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We have skipped all of these transition metals. Okay, we are only referring to these 8 groups specifically, which is what we refer to now from grade 9 to matric. We don't actually talk about there being 18 groups. We just talk about there mainly being 8 groups on the periodic table. Okay, then you do need to know which elements are metals and which ones are non-metals. So remember, everything to the left of the metalloid pathway are metals. Everything to the right are non-metals. And everything touching the metalloid pathway are called semi-metals, or the more correct term is a metalloid. You need to know which are metals, which are non-metals, and which ones are metalloids. Please do know that, okay? Because it'll help you a lot going forward with this section. So once you have remembered how to use the periodic table, then you would know that this is the periodic table that you will get in your exams. From grade 8 to matric, this is the one you should be getting. So from this, you need to make sure that you are knowing how to use a periodic table. So here are those little numbers again, 1 to 18, and here are those Roman numeral numbers 1 to 8. Okay, this is your tag. Remember, your tag tells you all the information you need about it. It has a smaller number and a bigger number. Remember, learn it small number, big number. Don't learn it top number, bottom number, because sometimes they swap these around in the exams. Okay, so the small number is always your atomic number, and the bottom number is always your atomic mass. The symbol obviously is the symbol of the element. Sometimes it doesn't match the name. Like this one is Cu, it's for copper. It used to be called cuprum, but in English we say copper, but its symbol is still Cu. Okay, the number on the side here, you only need to start worrying about from grade 10. It's an electronegativity. But in grade 8 and 9, you need to make sure that you're understanding how a periodic table looks so that you can then identify what's going on. So remember, from here going down, from boron down and across, this is your metalloid pathway. Everything to the left is a metal, and everything to the right is a non-metal, and everything touching the metalloid pathway is your metalloids. So just remember how to use a periodic table. I'm going to show you a trick with the group numbers just now so that you can write your formula better. Okay, so just a recap, this is the elements that I make sure that my grade 8s and 9s learn. Obviously in grade 8 you have to learn the first 20 elements. Spelling counts. Please make sure you know your spelling with the symbol, and just remember not always does the symbol match the name. Okay, the only spelling where it's not a train smash is this pH for sulfur. You can put an F, but the correct English is a pH. So the first 20 you have to learn in grade 8. And then these are the extra ones that I make sure that my learners learn in grade 9, because they're the ones that get used so often. Okay, so I like them to also use these ones so that it's a little bit easier to get used to seeing all these extras. If your teacher teaches them slightly different, that's also fine. Go with what your teacher says, but this is the ones that I do extra because they're the ones that are used so much. Okay, so let's get into it. First of all, we need to understand what an oxidation number and a valency is. Okay, so why do we have these little numbers at the top right hand of elements showing how many electrons there are that needs to be gained or lost? Okay, so I've drawn two atoms here. First on the left hand side, this is your sodium atom. Remember, sodium has 11 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 electrons. Chlorine has 17 electrons. Okay, so we have 11 and 17 electrons. Please remember, when something is gaining electrons, remember electrons are negative. So when you gain electrons, even though you're gaining, and we know gain is a plus, even though you're gaining electrons, you're gaining negative, you're becoming more negative. So when you gain, you are actually becoming more negative. And when you lose electrons, we know that lose is minus. But when you lose electrons, it means you're becoming more positive because you are losing electrons. You are losing minuses, so you're becoming more positive. So when we gain electrons, it's negative, and when we lose electrons, it becomes a positive. You have to know this. This is from your electrostatics from grade 8. Okay? So in this element here, remember, this is your energy level 1. Energy level 1 is full. It has 2 electrons. This is energy level 2. Energy level 2 is full. It has 8 electrons. We know energy level 2 can have 8. Energy level 3 can also have 8, but sodium only has 1. But they all want to be full. They want to have full energy levels. That's the whole purpose of these elements, is that they want to be like group 8 with full energy levels. So for sodium, is it easier for sodium to give away this 1 electron or to now try and gain 7? Which one's easier for sodium? It's a lot easier for sodium to give this one away. So sodium is going to give away electrons, okay? So we know that loss means plus, so sodium needs to give 1 away. Okay, so sodium is going to lose an electron to have a full energy level. Once this electron is gone, then sodium has full energy level, 2 in energy level 1 and 8 in energy level 2. Sodium is full. So sodium needs to lose the 1 electron to have a full energy level. But it's different for chlorine. Chlorine has got 2 electrons on energy level 1, 8 electrons on energy level 2, and it's got 2, 4, 6, 7 electrons on energy level 3. We know energy level 3 can have 8, but chlorine only has 7. Okay, 2, 4, 6 plus the 1 is 7 electrons. So is it easier for chlorine to just gain 1, or is it easier to lose 7? So it's easier for chlorine to gain 1, and we know that gain is a minus, so minus 1. Okay, so chlorine would rather gain 1 than lose 7, and sodium would rather lose 1 than try and gain 7. And that is where these numbers are coming from. These are called oxidation numbers. Oxidation numbers. If you don't have the plus and minus and you just say Na1 or Cl1, then they're called valencies. So they're called valencies if they don't have pluses and minuses, but I like to teach oxidation numbers plus and minus because for writing chemical formula, you can only combine a plus and a minus. You can't combine a minus and a minus or a plus and a plus because it will not work. You can only combine a plus and a minus for it to be a writing formula. So that's why I like to teach the pluses and minuses. And also, if you know the oxidation numbers, pluses and minuses, it's a lot easier for grade 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so now you understand why sodium is a plus 1 and why chlorine is a minus 1. So just to make it easier for you, you should know that sodium is actually over here. And funny enough, all group 1 elements get a +1. Okay? Chlorine is over here, and like I did in the previous one, chlorine is a -1. And nice for us in science is that the whole of the group is like that. So all of group 1 gets a +1. Nice. Group 2 all get a +2. They would rather lose 2 than gain 6. Group 3, remember I, the Roman numeral, group 3. Group 3 would rather lose 3 than gain 5. Group 4 is sometimes a plus and sometimes a minus, because to gain 4, to lose 4, it doesn't matter. So sometimes it's a plus, sometimes it's a minus. It just depends on what you're combining it with. Remember, you can only combine a plus and a minus. So when you're combining group 4 elements with a plus, it'll be a minus. And when you're combining group 4 elements with a minus, it will then be a plus. Okay? So this is the 4. Once you get to 4, it's now downhill again. Group 5 is a -3. It would rather gain 3 than lose the 5. Okay, and then we get a -2 for group 6. Group 7 is a -1, and group 8 is a 0. Remember, group 8, they have full energy levels. They don't want to gain or lose any. So that is why they're a 0. No gaining, no losing, it's a 0. Okay, so nice way of knowing it. Group 1 is a 1, group 2 is a 2, group 3 is a 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. When you first get your paper, go and write that in on your periodic table so that you don't forget. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. But this group in between here, okay? Remember, these are your transition metals. They are transitioning between group 2 and group 3. So sometimes they're 2, sometimes they're 3, sometimes they're 1, sometimes they're 6. Okay? So the rule for here is that they are all, so all transition metals are +2, except for silver and mercury. These two happen to be +1s. So all transition metals are +2, except for silver and mercury, which are +1, unless told otherwise. Okay, unless told otherwise. And we'll get to the telling otherwise just now, but all transition metals are +2, except for silver and mercury, which are +1, unless told otherwise. So this is a nice basis for knowing how to know what their oxidation number is or what their valency is, so that you can do the writing formula properly. Okay, so these you just have to learn off by heart. So remember, group 1 is a +1, or you could just say a 1. Group 2 is a +2, you could just say 2. This would be your oxidation number, and this would be your valency, depending on which way your teacher teaches you, or you could also just learn one or the other. I would suggest this way if you're going to be taking physical science to grade 12. Sometimes a teacher might call it a bonding number, but it's actually called a valency, but I like to teach the oxidation number. Group 3 or group III, remember these are the Roman numeral groups. It's a +3 or a 3. Transition metals are all +2 except for silver and mercury, which are +1 unless told otherwise. Group 4 is a plus or -4. Then we go -3, -2, -1, and group 8 is a 0. This would then be a 4, 3, 2, 1, and still a 0. Okay, so these are the ones that you have to learn off by heart to be able to do writing formula properly. And again, it's off by heart. There's no easy way. There's no cheat way. You just have to learn them. You can't just look at the periodic table and expect it to just come to you. You have to learn them. Okay. Again, oxidation numbers, if you're going to take matric science to matric, you can learn them. Valencies without the pluses and minuses if you're just going to do grade 9 natural science. But it's nice to know the pluses and minuses, because remember, you can only combine a plus and a minus together. You cannot have a plus and a plus, and you can't have a minus and a minus. These ones cannot combine with each other. You can only combine an element that is a plus and an element that is a minus. We do other things for pluses and pluses and minuses and minuses. Okay, so this is the basics. Learn it off by heart. Okay, then So next thing we need to make sure that we understand before we can start the writing formula section is that you have to know your polyatomic ions. Okay, so you should have learned these already in class, but remember, poly means more than one, atomic is atom, so more than one atom. A normal atom would be like your copper or your calcium, things like that, and then they would have their oxidation numbers. Calcium's in group 2, so it gets a +2. Copper is a transition metal, and remember, transition metals are all +2 except for silver and mercury, which get a +1, so copper is a +2. So they're all atomic ions. These are all atomic ions, but we get a few that are polyatomic, poly more than one. And these you just have to learn off by heart. There is no cheat way of learning them. There's no trick from the periodic table. You have to learn these off by heart. Okay, these are the common ones for grade 9. We add extra into grade 10, 11, and 12. So these are just the common ones for grade 9. So the first one is OH minus. If there's no number, it's a 1. Okay, remember the 1 is always assumed. So OH minus 1, that is hydroxide. It's the only one that ends in "ide" that's not on the periodic table. Anything that ends in "ide" is generally a non-metal on the periodic table, except for hydroxide. This one not on the periodic table because it's oxygen and hydrogen. So this is the first polyatomic. Then we get NO3 minus 1, which is nitrate. 8, not on the periodic table. Then we have SO4 minus 2 or 2 minus, depending on how your teacher says it. I say minus 2. This is sulfate. Okay. Then we have CO3 minus 2, which is carbonate. Again, 8, 8, 8, not on the periodic table. Okay. PO4 minus 3, phosphate. And SO3 minus 2 is sulfite, also not on the periodic table. If you'll look here, SO4 is an 8 and SO3 is an 8. So one less oxygen goes from 8 to 8. That is nice to know for grade 10. Okay, and then the only one that we learn about as a plus in grade 9 is ammonium, NH4 plus 1. This is the only one for grade 9. But these are the polyatomic ions you have to know before you can also do writing formula. If you don't learn these off by heart, you're not going to be able to do the formula writing. I call it crisscrossing. Okay, so let's get on to the steps. These are the steps that I teach my kids to follow. So you're going to get something that says, write the formula for sodium chloride. Okay, so write the formula. Formula means symbols. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to write the symbols. You're going to go to the periodic table. You're going to say, okay, sodium symbol is Na, chlorine symbol is Cl. You're going to figure out what the oxidation numbers are, or if you want to learn it as valencies, the valency. You're going to do the crossover, and you're going to bring down the valency to the opposite element. If you're using the pluses and minuses, we then ignore the pluses and minuses. Remember, the pluses and minuses are there so that you know that this is the one that you can crisscross. Okay? And then you're going to rewrite it. So these are the steps to be able to write a chemical formula. So let's try this first one. So step 1, that is your question, write the formula for sodium chloride. Step 1 is write the symbol. I have Na and I have Cl. So those are the symbols for Na and Cl. Okay. Step 2 is give it the oxidation numbers or the valency. So we see, okay, sodium, what group is it in? It's in group 1. All group 1 elements get a +1. Okay. Chlorine, we look at the periodic table. Chlorine is in group 7. Group 7 elements get a -1. Again, remember, you can leave the plus and minus out, but I like to add it because now you know that you have a plus and a minus. Great, I can crisscross. Okay, so once you've done this, the next step then is to take out the plus and minus or ignore the plus and minus. We only take the number from the top and we bring it down to the opposite element down here at the bottom. Remember, the numbers at the bottom tell you the number of atoms. So the number at the bottom, so let's say Cl2, this number tells you atoms. If it was a -1 up here, this is telling you the oxidation number or the valency. There's a difference between a number at the top and the bottom, and there's also a difference between the number in front. This is the number of molecules. Okay, so number in front is molecules, small number subscript is atoms, and your top number up there is your oxidation numbers. So we take the number and we bring it down. We take the number and we bring it down to the opposite element. We don't care about the pluses and minuses now. They've done their job. Their job is to tell us that we can crisscross a plus and a minus. Great. Okay? So then the next step is rewrite it out with the numbers. Na gets the 1. But remember, we don't put a 1. It's an imaginary 1. We never put the 1. Okay? The reason why we don't put the 1 is because it's not a 0. It can't be a 0 because then there's 0 sodiums. And then why would we write Na? So we just leave it Na. And the Cl gets the 1, so we write Cl, imaginary 1, and that is your answer, 1 mark. As simple as that. Okay, try another one. Here's calcium. Step 1 is write the symbol. Ca is for calcium. Okay, then the next one is chloride. Remember, ide is on the periodic table. It's chlorine, so it's Cl. Next step is to figure out what its oxidation number is. So calcium is in group 2. It gets a +2. Chlorine is in group 7. It gets a -1. Okay? We take the number. We don't care about the plus and minus anymore. Okay? It's irrelevant now that we know it's a plus and a minus. We take the 2 and we bring it down to the bottom. We take the 1. We bring it down to the bottom. So Ca gets the imaginary 1 and Cl gets the 2. So it's CaCl2, 1 mark. Simple as that. Okay, next one. We have a magnesium nitride. Magnesium symbol is Mg, not Mn, Mg, magnesium, not manganese. Nitride, ide means it's on the periodic table, so nitride is nitrogen. Magnesium is in group 2, it gets a +2. Nitrogen is in group 7, it gets a -3. Not 7, group 5, it gets a -3. Okay, so magnesium's in group 2, it gets a +2. Nitrogen is in group 5, it gets a -3. Again, a plus and a minus, so I know I'm on the right track. I can crisscross. The 2 comes down to the opposite. The 3 comes down to the opposite. So magnesium gets the 3 and nitrogen gets the 2. 1 mark. We don't need to see this. This is just for you. You can do it in your brain. You just get the mark for this crisscrossing over here. Okay. Next one. Still magnesium. So I have Mg for magnesium. And bromine, bromide. It's ide. It's on the periodic table. So bromide is bromine, Br. Magnesium is in group 2. It gets a +2. Bromine is in group 7. It gets a -1. Okay, a plus and a minus. Great, I'm on the right track. 2 comes down, 1 comes down, and magnesium gets the imaginary 1, and bromine gets the 2, like that, for a mark. Okay, these ones not so bad. They're all on the periodic table. This one here, a little bit more tricky now, because aluminium, okay, Al, aluminium is in group 3. It gets a +3. Great for aluminium. But you see this 8 here? 8 is not on the periodic table. It's not on the periodic table. When it is in 8 or 8, not on the periodic table. So your brain should jump to polyatomic. That's where your brain should be jumping. Polyatomic. Sulfate. And sulfate is SO4. I like to say -2. You can say 2-. It's the same thing. Okay, again, you have to learn this off by heart. If you don't learn them, you're not going to be able to do the crisscrossing. You won't get the mark. Okay, so now we take the 3 and we bring it down. We take the 2, we bring it down. The plus and minus did its job. We know we can crisscross a plus and a minus. Okay, so Al and SO4. So this one not too bad. Al gets the 2 from the sulfate. And SO4, this is a little bit more tricky. So here's SO4. It's supposed to get the 3. But if you write it like that, it looks like you have 43 oxygens. And that is not what we are trying to say. We are trying to say that there are 3 sulfates. So you need to put the sulfate in brackets and the 3 on the outside. So we know that, like in maths, this 3 would actually get distributed in. So there's 3 sulfurs and 12 oxygens, but we don't say S3O12 because we always need to simplify, and it's SO43. Okay, so please make sure you put the polyatomics in brackets with the number on the outside of the brackets. And please make sure it's down here and not up here. I still have kids in grade 11 that are still doing the 3 up here. Please don't do that. It is a subscript 3. Okay, so polyatomic ions, you need to make sure that you know them off by heart and that you are using your brackets. Okay, this one over here, calcium, Ca, it's in group 2, it's a +2. Phosphate, 8, not on the periodic table. Okay, so you already know it's not on the periodic table. Your brain should be jumping to polyatomic. Phosphate is PO4 -3. Okay, it's a plus and a minus. I know I'm on the right track. I can crisscross. The 2 comes down. The 3 comes down. So it becomes Ca gets the 3 and PO4 gets the 2. But I need to put it in brackets. So the 2 is saying that there's 2 phosphates. Okay, next one is beryllium hydroxide. Beryllium is Be. We don't use it very often, but it's beryllium, and it's in group 2. It gets a +2. Okay, hydroxide. Even though it ends in "ide" and it should be on the periodic table, this is the one that's the exception to the rule. Hydrox, hydro and oxide. So it's hydrogen and oxygen. So it's your polyatomic ion. It's OH, and OH is a -1. The 2 comes down, the 1 comes down. So beryllium gets the imaginary 1, and OH gets the 2. But again, it looks like there's 2 hydrogens. No, the 2 belongs to the OH, not just the H. So make sure you put in your brackets. Okay. This one over here, potassium. We know potassium is a K. It's one of the elements that don't follow its name, potassium. Potassium is in group 1, so it gets a +1. Iodide, it ends in "ide." It's on the periodic table, is iodine. Iodine is in group 7. It gets a -1. When they are both the same number, I do not have to crisscross. Okay, so when they're both the same number, think about calcium and oxygen. Calcium's a 2 and oxygen's a -2. When they're both the same number, I don't have to crisscross. I just rewrite it out as is, Ki. Same here, CaO. I don't crisscross if they're the same number, okay? If I did crisscross, the 2 would come down and the 2 would come down. So this would be a Ca2O2. But just like in maths, we cannot leave it unsimplified. And 2 goes into 2 ones, and 2 goes into 2 ones, so it's still CaO. So when they're both the same number, don't crisscross, just leave it. Same as, let's say, aluminium is a +3, nitrogen is a -3, they're both 3s, we just say ALN, because it would be Al3N3, and we'd simplify to ALN anyway. So when they're both the same number, we just ignore, okay? Last one, this one's again, here is copper. We know copper is Cu, but what is this telling me? Remember, all transition metals are +2 except silver and mercury, which are +1 unless told otherwise. This is me telling you otherwise. I am telling you copper is a +3. Okay, so this is part of that phrase that I like to do. So Cu +3. Sulfide, ide, it's on the periodic table. It is sulfur, and sulfur is in group 6. It gets a -2. So 3 comes down, 2 comes down. So it's Cu2S3, just like that. Okay, so hopefully this has helped a little bit so that you guys can understand writing formula a little bit better from grade 9 all the way to matric. If you don't know how to do this, you are not going to get the marks. So please do make sure you're studying those oxidation numbers as well as your polyatomic ions. Okay, bye.